Hey everyone, I wanted to go over how you set your trip up and how you ensure that you are making the most use of your time while you're at Walt Disney World. There are a lot of conflicting strategies when it comes to doing so, so I think I'll show you what everyone probably does when they're planning out their trip first, and then as far as strategies of extra magic hours, you can make your decision off that. I'll give you my advice and what I tend to do, and I can obviously lead you the direction based on your family structure, because that's the biggest thing to note. You're not comparing apples to apples when you're talking about a family that has high schoolers or an adult trip that you are with a family that has little kids. Obviously, it's a night and day difference as far as what you're able to do in a day. So I will give you my experience as a mom with little kids. If you have older kids, or if you are going with adults or teens, we can absolutely talk about what that strategy might look like. But here's the basis. Number one, the days that you are going, here's an upcoming trip for me. The days that I'm going, first thing is, what does your travel and departure day look like? Well, I'm landing in Orlando at 8:15, which means I'll be to my resort, ready to go, leaving for the parks at 10 a.m., totally feasible. That being said, I know that that's a party day for me. Landon's playing with the dog and feeding him chips and eating chips at the same time. So for me, that's a party day, or a day to go to the park. On my departure day, I have a 6:50 flight, which means that Disney's going to assign me to a 3:30 bus. They tend to have you leave 3 hours before your scheduled flight. So I know that I'll be leaving my resort at 3:30. The bus leaves without you. It's happened to us. So make sure you're there ready to go. In this case, we'll be sitting there ready to go a little bit after 3 and just hanging out while we wait on the bus. So that's the first thing. Yes, this is a park day. Yes, this will be a park day. All right. Hours. If you go over parks and tickets. All right. Right here, if I was just looking at today, okay, and this is something you can easily see on your phone, you'll be able to tell what hours are in each park. Extra magic hours, remember, are only for people that are staying at Walt Disney World. They have access to it, which is a nice little perk. And depending on your family, it might be a great thing for you. If you're early risers, you might want to be ready to go at 7 a.m. to get into Hollywood Studios. If you have older kids or you're with adults and you can hang until 2 a.m., more power to you. Go for it. Close the park down. You'll have a great experience riding some rides at lesser wait times than everyone else. So for me, I'm not someone who likes to take advantage of extra magic hours. Why? Because I think the parks tend to be a little bit more crowded on those days. And I'm not somebody who would want to get up and be at the park at 7 a.m., nor would I ever be able to close the park down. So for my family structure, they don't work, but that's not to say that they can't for yours. As far as my strategy is, I avoid the park with extra magic hours unless I were going on an adult trip and I knew that I would be able to actually enjoy those extra times. If I didn't have kids, I could get to this in time and be there 6:30, 6:45 before they open. I could also be ready to go and stay extra late. Since I will not be able to hang during those times or enjoying those actual times, my thought process is the people that are going to be enjoying those times are going to be there along with everybody else, which means that the crowd levels are going to be a little bit higher on those days. Therefore, I avoid the parks that have extra magic hours. So if this was today and I was going to the parks, I would be at Epcot or Animal Kingdom on today, okay? As far as when, September trip. So what I do is I go through and I make a list of the days that I'm going to be there, what has extra magic hours. Now I want to point out a caveat to this and something to make sure you pay attention to, because you'll be very upset if you don't. If you are going in August, September, or October, you need to be mindful of the Halloween party. If you are going in November, December, you need to be mindful of the Christmas party. What that means for you is if you're attending Magic Kingdom, just know that even though you have purchased your ticket that should last you from open till close, that cost you $100, whatever it was, your price was, that you will not be allowed to stay in the park beyond 7 p.m. because the people who have paid for Halloween party tickets will be able to take the park over from 7 to midnight. So this is true for Halloween and it's true for Christmas. That being said, please make sure that you note on your trip kind of planning sheet that the park will be closing early and you will not be able to stay late. So if this was not my travel day and I had planned to stay for fireworks and planned to stay all evening, I would absolutely not be going to Magic Kingdom on this day because I would have to leave at 7, which would be a waste of a park ticket. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, so after you make a list of what places have extra magic hour, so Animal Kingdom has extra magic hours in the AM. This one has extra magic hours in the evening. After I've done that, then I decide how many days I'm going to actually be going to the parks. Landon, no. Landon's trying to feed the dog with ham now that is on his tray. So in this case, I've decided that I want to go every day to a park, and I want to make sure that every park I hit. So I have Magic Kingdom. Even though there's a party that day, I'm okay with it because it's our travel day and we're not going to make it very late anyway. So we would be going home by that point anyway because we'll be tired. Extra magic hours are happening at Animal Kingdom, so I'm going to go to Epcot. We are actually going to go to one of the Halloween parties, so I'm not going to go to the park during the day. If I had older kids, I could probably pull it and do it all day, but with a 4-year-old who could combust at any moment, it's not going to be a good call for us. So we're going to do the pool. I'm going to make sure that we get a nap in, which is pretty hard to do at Walt Disney World. And then after we get the nap, we will head over to Magic Kingdom. I know that we're going to have a slow start in the morning because it's going to have been a late night for my daughter. So I'm okay going to Animal Kingdom a little bit later in the day. And then on my day when I'm leaving, I have to be out of the parks by about 2:30 probably to make it back. Because Hollywood Studios for my family is only a half-day park, we're going to go to Hollywood Studios, and I'm going to be okay knowing that I'm not getting a full park day. All right. If you have hoppers, park hopper tickets, meaning you can go to more than one park in a day, I would make sure that you have your list to see where you think you're going to be going in the evening and in the morning. The reason you want to note this is because you want to have an idea of what you're going to be doing for dining. And obviously none of this is set in stone. Every single element of your trip can change with the exception of dining because that is a reservation. It can change up until 24 hours before your dining reservation time. So maybe by then you'll know it. But everything else, your fast passes, if you don't show up, you don't show up. It's fine. So as far as hoppers, I would make notes of where you think you're going to go in one day. So if I know I'm going to go to Hollywood Studios in the morning and it's a quick, easy ride over to Epcot, then I will go to Epcot in the evening. That's fine. I'll make a note of that. All right, as far as dining goes, after you have this list, that's when you create your dining. So if I know I'm going to be in Epcot for the day, well, then I'm going to make sure that my dining choice, if I'm doing a sit-down restaurant, is either inside Epcot or on the way to Epcot. In this trip, I'm staying on the monorail, which will be very nice, which means I have easy access to the 3 monorail resorts to do a reservation at any of those restaurants inside of the hotels. It means that obviously I can jump on a bus and go to any of the parks to go to whatever reservation I have. But you want to make sure that you're going someplace that makes sense. So if this is my Epcot day, I don't want to have dinner in the Beast Castle, which is in Magic Kingdom. I want to make sure that I'm eating in Epcot or close to. So maybe I do the Trattoria Al Forno breakfast, which is right across the way from Epcot. Because that's where I'm going to be. So we want to make sure that we're being smart about our time. On my Animal Kingdom day, I'm not going to be doing something near Epcot. I'd be by Animal Kingdom. So this is when we decide where we're going to be eating. And once we have that, then we can make our dining choices. So transportation, make sure you're thinking about transportation and how easy or hard it will be to get to reservations. That's what I'm here for, to kind of tell you where you think you should be going, how you're going to get there, etc. And yeah, so that's how I plan my trip, and I will share some other secrets along my planning adventure for this current trip.